Level 1, 2 people. Same age, same job, same salary, same city. They sit in the same office, eat the same lunch, complain about the same boss. At 22, they are identical. But at 40, one quietly crosses $1 million. The other checks their bank account and avoids looking at the number. No lottery, no rich parents, no big break. Just a few invisible decisions so small you wouldn't even notice them until it's too late. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The difference between these two lives is probably happening in yours right now. 2. The starting point. Let's go back. Age 22. First job, first paycheck, first real taste of freedom. For the first time in their lives, money isn't something they ask for. It's something they control. Both of them earn $52,000 a year. And it feels like a lot, because compared to before, it is. Suddenly, life opens up. They upgrade their phones, move into slightly better apartments, start going out more often. Subscriptions stack quietly in the background. Nothing crazy, nothing irresponsible, just what everyone else is doing. And that's exactly why it feels safe. Normal behavior never raises alarms. It doesn't feel like a mistake. It doesn't feel like a risk. It feels like progress. But beneath all of this, something deeper is being built. Not in their bank account, not in their lifestyle, but in their patterns. Small, repeated choices, shaping how they think about money. One begins to treat money as something to grow. The other begins to treat it as something to spend. Neither realizes it yet. Because at this stage, everything still looks the same. But underneath the surface, a system has already begun to form. 3. The first invisible split person. Aya does something small. So small. It almost feels pointless. They set aside $300 a month. No strategy, no deep research, no financial genius, just a simple automatic transfer. Every month, they don't celebrate it. They don't track it obsessively. They barely even notice it leaving their account. It doesn't change their lifestyle. It doesn't feel like progress. It feels invisible. Person B also makes a small move. Just as small. They start upgrading their life slightly faster than their income grows. A better weekend here, a slightly nicer car there, more convenience, more comfort, more, I deserve this. Nothing extreme. Nothing reckless. Just a little ahead of where they should be, and just like person A, they don't feel it. It's invisible. That's the danger. Because when something feels small, the brain labels it as unimportant. No warning, no resistance, no urgency. But here's what's really happening. Person A is quietly building a system that moves forward. Person B is quietly building a system that holds them in place. Same effort, same scale, different direction, and direction decides everything. 4. Why small decisions don't feel important. Here's the psychological trap. Humans are not designed to notice slow change. We are wired for extremes, big wins, big losses, big emotional moments. That's what gets our attention. That's what feels real. But wealth? Wealth doesn't move like that. It grows quietly. No alerts, no excitement, no visible shift you can celebrate. Just slow, silent progress. So when person A sets aside money every month, they feel nothing. No reward, no instant gratification, just discipline, without feedback. And the brain doesn't like that, because the brain craves signals. Now look at person B. Every upgrade creates a reaction, a better experience, a sense of status, a moment of relief. Small, but noticeable. And that's enough, because over time, those small emotional rewards start shaping behavior. One person is training their mind to delay pleasure and build something unseen. The other is training their mind to chase pleasure and reinforce consumption. Same brain, same environment, different conditioning, and eventually, that conditioning becomes identity. 5 years The real difference is not money. At 25, both are earning more now, around $70,000 a year. On the surface, nothing has changed. Same type of apartment, same social life, same daily routine. If you looked at them from the outside, you wouldn't see a difference. But internally, everything has shifted. Person A begins to look at money differently, not as something to use, but as something to grow. They start asking quiet questions. How can this multiply? How can I make this work for me? What happens if I keep this going for years? Nothing extreme, just a subtle shift in thinking. Person B also shifts, but in a different direction. They start asking, how can I enjoy this more? What can I upgrade next? What will make life feel better right now? Again, nothing wrong, nothing reckless, just a different focus. And this is where the real split begins. Because income doesn't decide your future. Your questions do. The questions you repeat daily shape your decisions. Your decisions shape your habits. And your habits quietly build the life you end up living. 6. The system versus the moment. By now, the difference becomes clearer, but still quiet. Person A starts building a system. Nothing complicated, money moves automatically. A portion gets invested before it can be spent. Expenses are observed, not judged. And slowly they begin learning how money actually works. Not every day, not obsessively, just consistently. Small actions, repeated over time. Person B lives through moments. A trip after a stressful week, an upgrade after a long month, another upgrade because life feels hard. Each decision feels earned. Each moment feels justified. And that's why it never feels like a problem. They're not irresponsible. They're just unstructured. There's no system guiding their money, only emotions, reacting to life. And here's the real difference most people miss. A system doesn't need motivation. It runs even when you're tired, even when you're distracted, even when life gets busy. But moments depend on how you feel, and feelings change quickly. Systems quietly build outcomes in the background. Moments feel good, but leave nothing behind. And over time, that difference becomes everything. 7. The silent compounding phase. This is the phase most people underestimate, because this is where everything important happens. And nothing looks like it's happening. From 25 to 32, there are no dramatic moments, no sudden success, no visible breakthrough, no point where everything changes overnight. Just time passing. Person A's investments begin to move. Quietly. A little growth this year, a little more the next. Nothing exciting. Nothing worth talking about, but it's consistent. And consistency compounds. Person B, also moving, but in a different direction. Expenses slowly increase. Commitments stack up. Lifestyle becomes harder to reduce, not all at once, just gradually. And that's why it goes unnoticed, because both lives still look similar. Same job level, same conversations, same daily routines. The gap exists, but it's still small enough to ignore. And that's the illusion, because while the gap looks small, its speed is increasing. One side is building momentum, the other is building pressure, and neither fully realizes it yet. But this is the phase where the future is quietly being decided. 8. The dangerous illusion. At 30, everything still looks the same. Same job level, same conversations, same weekends, same social circle. If you saw them side by side, you wouldn't notice anything different. And that's exactly why this phase is dangerous, because the difference is no longer visible. It's internal. Person A has started building options, not obvious ones, but quiet flexibility. They can handle surprises. They can take calculated risks. They can say no without fear. Person B has built something else. Obligations, monthly pressures, fixed commitments, a lifestyle that depends on constant income. Nothing looks wrong, but everything feels tighter. And here's the illusion. Both lives appear identical on the surface. Same clothes, same places, same conversations, but underneath, one life is expanding, the other is tightening. And because you can't see that difference early, most people assume they're on the same path. They're not, because wealth doesn't show up first. Consequences do. And by the time they become visible, the gap is already real. 9. The shift at 32. Something changes, not in salary, not in status, in pressure. At 32, person B starts to feel it. Not all at once, but enough to notice. Bills feel heavier, savings don't seem to grow, unexpected expenses hit harder than they should, and time starts to feel limited, like there's less room to recover, less space to make mistakes. For the first time, a question appears. Why am I not getting ahead? They're working, they're earning, they're trying. But something isn't moving, and that's when frustration begins. Now look at person A. Same age, same income range, but a different feeling. They start noticing momentum, not explosive, not dramatic, but real. Their money is doing something quietly, growing in the background, building without constant effort, even when they're busy, even when they're not thinking about it. And that's the shift. One person starts feeling pressure, the other starts feeling progress, not because of what they did today, but because of what they built years ago. 10. The power of momentum. Momentum is invisible until it isn't. Person A doesn't need to try harder because their past decisions are now working for them. Person B needs to try harder because their past decisions are now working against them. That's the shift, not effort, direction. 11. The real game by 35. The difference becomes real. Person A has investments growing, has lower stress, has flexibility. Person B has higher expenses, has less room to breathe, has less control. And here's the truth nobody says. The game was decided years ago, not at 35, not at 30, but at 22. In decisions that felt meaningless. 12. The final gap. At 40, the numbers finally reveal the truth. Person A crosses $1 million net worth, quietly, no announcement, no celebration, just a number on a screen. Person B has maybe $60,000 to $80,000, mostly locked, mostly unavailable, mostly delayed, same life, same salary, different system. 13. Why most people miss this? Because they look for big answers, big opportunities, big secrets, big shortcuts. But wealth doesn't come from big moves. It comes from repeated small decisions aligned in the same direction over years. And that's boring, which is why most people never do it. 14. The truth about your life. Right now, you are not choosing money. You are choosing a system. Every purchase, every habit, every decision is either building something or maintaining nothing. And you won't feel it today. You won't feel it tomorrow. But one day, you will feel everything at once. 15. The decision. So here's the real question. Which life are you building? Right now. Not in the future, not someday. Today. Because the difference between $0 and $1 million is not luck. It's not intelligence. It's not opportunity. It's direction. And direction is decided in moments so small, most people ignore them until it's too late.